what was also interesting through this most recent market turbulence was that even as we saw cryptos falling, money was moving into stablecoins, which suggests that we are also seeing money staying in the system rather than moving elsewhere. Capital has lots of options to move, but instead decided to move into certain stablecoins. So how do you see the stablecoin system evolving over the next few years, and where are we at in terms of maturity right now?
I would say that we're going to continue to see acceleration. So if you look at the market cap of stablecoin, it has grown by 50% this year. The number of wallets again grown by 50% this year. And I think more and more institutions as well as corporates are realizing that it solves a lot of pain points, going back to Brett, your point. If you look at the current infrastructure in the banking space, right? If you want to do a cross-border transfer, you have to go through SWIFT, one or two correspondent network, take 2 days for the money to be received at very high fees. But if you do via stables and do via crypto, it's instantaneous at a fraction of the cost. There's certainty, right? So if you look at many corporate treasuries around the world, they are moving assets into stable because it allows them to manage their assets and funds on a 24/7 basis, moving from Indonesia to different parts of Europe instantaneously. They can have much greater capital efficiency and velocity on that front. So we're going to see a lot of that, and with clarity coming out from the likes of Genius Act, it gave all the financial institutions pause for thoughts on that front to say, look, this is a much more superior technology, is much cheaper, much faster. So we are going to see a lot of financial institutions issuing it, but also the big e-commerce players, right? So the likes of Amazon, I think they're going to issue their own stablecoins because it's so superior and they can manage their merchants' relationship much better with the likes of stablecoins.
Let me ask you specifically about this as well, because we saw a real-world example of this earlier this year. The MGX investment into Binance, financed using USD1, backed, of course, by World Liberty Financial. What does that unlock?
Well, if you look at MGX, they are AI and financial investor powerhouse on that front. They fully realize the power of digital money and digital future together. So they have picked a stable coin in terms of the mode of payment, and we welcome that. We are crypto native and digital native. And so it's a much more efficient way of movement of money compared to the traditional fiat rails. And we host stables on our platform to satisfy user needs as well. And I mean, even with our regulated entities globally, with regulators, we highlighted to them the use case, the importance of it, and why this is much more superior in terms of even holding our regulatory capital in terms of stable coins instead of putting them in banks.
Raised some eyebrows though, didn't it? Were you surprised by the reaction?
Well, a lot of them still have a lack of understanding of the pros, the benefits, how it works, etc. So it's an educational process, even with the regulators around the world.
Brad, can you talk a little bit more about the institutional adoption here and what you're seeing in terms of real-world payments as well on the stablecoin side?
Well, I mean, the stablecoin point you're making particularly, I think you are absolutely right that as people kind of went risk off, they stayed on stablecoins, which is indicative of, as Richard's describing, the utility, the 24/7 nature of a stablecoin, but it's also trust, where maybe years ago they might have said, I want to get into a fiat that I trust even more, but people are recognizing the stablecoins can be stable and easier to manage. But look, this region in particular leaned into regulatory clarity early. Ripple launched a stablecoin just over a year ago. It's just passed about $1 billion market cap. But now it's also been approved in, whitelisted in Abu Dhabi, as well as in Dubai and the DIFC. It's good collateral on various platforms from a lending point of view. And I think that the tailwinds just on solving real problems and good collateral that's easy to move and is more flexible and can be moved multiple times a day even, that wasn't possible before. And I think we're going to see a lot of unlocks that, when Ripple thinks about this, and it's an honor to be up here with these two, we want Solana to do great, we want Binance to do great, because I think we're still bringing people into the ecosystem. Stablecoins are one way of doing that. There are going to be lots of other applications, some that Ripple builds, some that are built in the Solana ecosystem, and some that Binance builds.